Welcome back to the Picks Against the Spread episode we do every week. Week 4 is in the books, and if you look at it, myself and Jason, I guess, tied for the record for the week, 9-6. But Jason's still ahead in the total ranks with 36 total wins. There was a stat correction from last week. Thanks, Jason, for pointing it out. He wants every darn win he can get. Actually, it only benefited Chris. It actually hurt everyone else because Chris correctly picked Tennessee to win last week.
Oh, and I need all the help I can get. So
you're scrapping back, man. You and Peter are only one game out. And anything can happen, dude, week to week. It's crazy.
It's so interesting. I left our recording last week just thinking I hate my picks. I don't know. I just had a bad feeling about them. And lo and behold, a lot of red. But I'm ready for a bounce back week. Like, I realized there were certain picks I felt really strongly about. Some of them are the ones that hit, like San Francisco, Kansas City, which we all did, New England. Of course, I did really believe that Carolina was going to win that game, and they didn't. So, but yeah, hopefully this is a better week for me and Chris. We're gonna get both you and Jason. It's coming.
Well, I look forward to it. I like the competition. I have no idea what I'm doing this year. Like, I felt a lot more confident last year. I was like, oh, I got this. Like, this is correct. And now I don't feel that way at all. So it is.
Well, see, I think this is great because this is Chris and I. This is our first year doing it, and you at least have 1 year of experience, and Jason has more. And I think Chris and I don't know about Chris, but I feel like I know what I'm doing, but the numbers don't reflect it. I don't know enough to know what I don't know.
It's tough, but I didn't notice it, and people might see it this week. Maybe it's always been there. I just was blind. But basically, it shows, like, in the little graphic I pop up, the record that each team has against the spread. And basically everyone's like 2-2 and 1-3. The only people that are 4-0 are the Eagles, as far as I can tell.
Interesting. I guess it depends on where you're getting your spreads, because I thought I read today on PFF that the Falcons are undefeated against the spread.
I thought they were 3-1. Yeah, and
that's what I'm saying. I think it must
you're right.
just be.
You're right. They're 4-0.
Oh, they are 4-0. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess the Eagles are there with them. Are there with them too.
Yeah, matter. I guess where you get your spreads. But yeah. Anyways, pretty cool. I guess we can start off with the first game of the week. Thursday Night Football, Colts at Broncos. The Broncos are a 3-point favorite, and the Broncos look to have some life in them after last week. They looked a little bit better. So I'm going to go with the Broncos here because the Colts have not looked like that. It seems like Matt Ryan is really toast. It seems like maybe Joe Flacco is better than him.
I'm not going to argue with that. But wait a second. Did we watch the same game last week? I'm going to ask you the same question you asked me when I picked San Francisco last week. The Broncos couldn't beat Vegas. We thought that one was a lock because Vegas was favored in that one.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the running back. I understand that, but they're at home, and I think home games on Thursday night.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I agree with the pick. If for no other reason, just simply with this one, both these teams have underwhelmed, and you've got injuries to running back for Denver. Jonathan Taylor might not play in this game for the Colts, which would be brutal for them. So I think you got to go with the home team in a matchup that seems like a toss-up with a lot of injuries on both sides.
Yeah, I think I'm going to continue with you guys. This game to me almost feels like the Washington-Dallas week last week, where I just picked Washington just for the heck of it, not because I believe in them whatsoever. They're literally the worst team in the league. So I'll go with Denver with you guys. We'll do the sweep.
All right, so next up, we've got a London game yet again. And we've got the Packers as 8-point favorites against the Giants. And look, I get that the Giants lost, not by a ton, but enough to Dallas on Monday Night Football, and they didn't look super convincing against the Bears. But I still don't think the Packers are playing well enough to be deserving of that big a spread. So I got to go with the Giants to cover here.
So I updated the spread to 8.5. Do you still feel comfortable? Because I forgot to take the screenshots when I originally put them up, and now I took the screenshots and they changed. So I'm tweaking it live.
that would need to be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would feel comfortable with that unless it was like down to like 3.5 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you went with the Giants, so it makes sense that you're cool with it. It's going higher. You can take it to 14 if you want. I guess for me, I found this one really difficult. I don't even know if the Packers will score that many points, so I also am going to go with the Giants.
Yeah. I feel like I don't even know anything about the Giants. The only thing I've heard recently is I know Odell Beckham has been talking to them. Not that he's going to make a difference for this game anyway, but yeah, it's too big of a spread.
One thing, Daniel Jones did get hurt in the game against Chicago. I think there's questionable as to whether or not he's going to play. Tyrod saw the field at the end of the game, completed one pass and an interception. But I mean, it was mop-up duty, so I don't know if that matters. But I don't. That doesn't change it enough for me. But there is that variable there, questionable who's going to be quarterbacking in that game for the Giants.
All right. Well, next up, we got the Falcons at the Bucks. Another huge spread, 9-point favorite to the Bucks. It's very interesting that you guys brought up the Falcons are 4-0 against the spread. I feel like the same argument here of that seems really high. I know the Bucks haven't looked too terrible, and it looks like it was reported that Brady's dealing with a rotator cuff issue. I don't know if it matters too much. Like, he's probably going to play, but. Yeah, I'll pick the Falcons here to cover.
I guess I'll go ahead. The Falcons and Bucks here. This is another one I found really difficult. I'm actually gonna go with the Bucks. It seemed like they might be coming back online with Godwin, Evans, in general. So I'm gonna say that maybe they figure out a way to score, and the Falcons seem to be in a total tailspin. I don't know if the locker room is gonna be lost. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
Yeah, I think the Bucks will win the game, but again, the Falcons have been in every game they played this year, and I just haven't seen enough from the Bucks yet to make me believe that they're close to righting their ship. So again, too big a spread. I'll take Tampa Bay. Next up is a really interesting one from a pick standpoint. We have Tennessee traveling to Landover to take on the Commanders. Tennessee is a 2.5-point favorite. I picked against them last week, and they beat the Colts outright. This week I'm going to take the Titans just because Carson Wentz does not seem to be the same quarterback despite playing reasonably well the first 2 weeks. Second 2 weeks haven't gone as well. And Tennessee, they're not blowing people over, but they're solid, and I think that's enough to win this game with that small of a spread. So since I'm taking Tennessee, that means you should take the Commanders because they'll cover.
I'm going with Tennessee as well because when trash plays trash, you take the points. Well, I guess actually that's the wrong way. But I really don't like the Commanders, so I'm still picking Tennessee. I think Tennessee will win.
Yeah, this feels kind of boring right now. I'm going to Tennessee too. Commanders are awful. I'm not picking them again, even in division games.
Chris, next we can't overtake Alec if we make all the same picks as him.
I'm not. Literally any other matchup. Like maybe this next one here. We'll see about this one. So Seahawks at Saints. It looks like the Saints are a 5.5-point favorite at home. I mean, I don't know if this is too crazy, but actually I was going to go for the Seahawks for this one. I mean, they just had a shootout of a game with Detroit, scoring 48 points. Alec, I think you had Geno on your bench, and he had like an incredible amount of fantasy points lost. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think they could do it. I know Andy Dalton's in a quarterback now with the Saints. Serviceable. I don't know. I wouldn't bet my money on him though if he's going to be playing this game. So Seahawks for me.
Oh man, the Seahawks game was so frustrating for me for DFS last week. I had so many pieces from that game except for Hawkinson. I just couldn't trust Hawkinson because of all the times he's burned me, and that was the difference between, winning the whole tournament I was in and only getting double what I put in. So, but, the Seahawks, their offense is looking pretty good. It's incredible to say it, but it is. And, the Saints are coming back from the London game. They lost there. Maybe their circadian rhythm might be messed up a little bit from that. I think the spread's just a little too big there. Maybe the Saints win. I'll give them that. But I don't think they're winning by that much. So I'll take Seattle.
Can't let you guys get up with me. Seattle. Basically the same reasons. I do think that Winston is going to potentially play, from what I read in the reports. But at the same time, I don't think that really changes my opinion of this game, because I do think,
not really,
like you guys said, the Seahawks will probably keep it close and maybe even win it. The next one, Bears visit the Vikings. This is a divisional game. Vikings, 7-point favorites. The Bears just keep showing up in ridiculous stat sheets of Cooper Kupp has more catches than Fields has completions on the year. That's so crazy. So I can't really pick the Bears in that situation. I have to pick the Vikings, and it hurts.
Yeah, this is a tough one. The Vikings, at some quarters they look really good, and other quarters they just look, like a last place team. The difference in this game, I think, is going to be, can the Bears get Darnell Mooney going? There were some signs of life there last week, not a ton, but he at least got more than 10 yards receiving. That's a good start. And the Vikings have struggled a bit defending the deep ball. They haven't been outstanding in that department. So I think that's something that if the Bears can get Darnell Mooney going, they can cover. So I'm going to take Chicago for some signs of life.
Yeah. I think I might go Vikings here. The spread is a little big, but honestly, they had a really great game against the Packers at home. The Detroit game was a little bit close, but it wouldn't surprise me if they came out with a good performance. So I'll take Vikings. All right, and that goes into another NFC North team. So we've got the Lions at Patriots. Looks like Patriots are favored by 3. The Lions, man, I want to keep picking them, but also, man, their defense is just atrocious. They can score a ton of points. I think they're number 1 in the league in scoring. But man, is their defense bad. Maybe that might be a good matchup, though, just going against the Patriots. I don't even know. It's not Hoyer anymore. He got hurt. I can't remember the name of the other quarterback that they're on. But
Zappy, yep.
Yeah, maybe it's a good bounce-back game from the Lions, though. I'll take them here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Lions here. I don't believe in Zappy. Give me Goff. It's not great analysis, but it's just true. That's how I feel at this point. Maybe the Lions defense looks good against the Rook.
So the Lions, as we saw, Rashad Penny's done nothing this year, and he gashed the Lions defense in that game on last Sunday. Zappy's not going to have to do much. The Patriots are just going to saddle up Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson. They're just going to run all over this Lions defense, control the clock. That'll leave the New England defense rested well. I feel very confident in the Patriots in this game.
Dang.
All right, next up we've got the Houston Texans traveling to Jacksonville. And, Jaguars, they had a letdown game this past week. I thought I was done receiving zeros from my quarterbacks in our Dynasty League and on League Tycoon after I traded away Matt Ryan. But lo and behold, 0.5 points this week from Trevor Lawrence due to his cacophony of turnovers in the rain against the Eagles. But I think he bounces back. That being said, the Texans, like I said, they were getting beat by the Chargers big last week, and then they came back, and the Chargers almost did not cover. They needed to score another touchdown late in that game after the Texans cut it to 3, I believe. The Texans are hanging around in these games. I think Jacksonville wins, but I think Houston covers.
Yeah. I I think last week's game against the Eagles was definitely an anomaly for the Jags. I could see this going either way, but I kind of like a bounce back game from the Jags here. Texans have got like some decent stuff going on offense, but heck, I think Chris Moore is like their leading receiver a week or two ago. Like, I don't know if I just have too much confidence in them. I think the Jags have more weapons, so I'll go Jaguars.
I think this is a really tough one, and I don't like the idea of betting on it. But I'll go with the Jaguars as well, Chris. I just think that if we're gonna have a game here at Jaguars at home, I think they can keep it above 7. Dolphins visit the Jets. The Dolphins are a 3-point favorite. The Dolphins will be without Tua for another week at least, and the Jets will have Zach Wilson, who had his best. How did the guy put it? Has best 2 interception game yet, or 2 turnover game yet, which is an interesting way of putting it. I didn't watch it, so I can't say for sure, but I do think that Teddy Bridgewater and those weapons will be competent enough against the Jets to pull out a victory, and 3 points seems reasonable, so I'll take the Dolphins.
Yeah, good point. I don't know, man. Like I think the Jets are hanging in games too. I think their secondary is playing really well. I think if there's any team that probably matches up fairly well, at least on defense against the Dolphins, I think the Jets might be up there. I'll take the Jets to upset this one.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup. One thing to note, the Jets defense, very opportunistic against the Steelers. 4 interceptions, I believe, and they forced 2 fumbles. They didn't recover any of them. But, I think the Jets are intriguing. I think at some point later in the season they will come alive. Maybe it'll be this week. But I just think those weapons of Hill and Waddle, even though it's going to be Teddy back there rather than Tua. Tua's been playing better than we've seen him ever in his career this year so far. Who's to say we won't see the same from Teddy with a full week to get ready to start? I'll take Miami. Next up, Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Buffalo is a 14-point favorite. Early on in the year, I was saying always take Josh Allen over to spread. The past 2 weeks, that has not worked, and that's a pretty big spread. But the Bills are playing really high quality opponents the past 2 weeks. The Steelers, they might put it together. I think they will at some point this year. They haven't put it together yet, and I think that Buffalo is going to torch them. So I will take Buffalo.
Yeah. Pickett's first game as a starter, assuming that sticks, will be against the top defense in the league. Doesn't sound great. He threw a pick, his first pass or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bills here too.
Yeah, this one's
It is
tough.
a big spread.
It is a really big spread. I definitely have no doubt that Buffalo is going to win this game, but the Steelers have kept close in a lot of these matchups, even though their offense has been horrendous. I'll pick the Steelers to cover.
You're gonna win by 13 points, and you're gonna be so happy. I feel like that's completely reasonable too.
Yeah,
it's totally within the realm of possibilities.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'll do that. I mean, the Bills looked okay. I mean, again, I think weather was a big factor in the game against us. But I mean, Josh, he looked pretty normal in that game. So, we'll see if it was just an anomaly due to the weather or something else is going on. But anyway, next up matchup. So we got the Chargers at Browns. Chargers are favored by 3, even though they're playing away. This one's really interesting. The Browns are putting stuff together. I don't know. Maybe I just feel like the Chargers. don't know. I don't know what I would call. I don't want the Browns to win, but I could definitely see a world in which they could. Maybe I'll go Chargers here.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers as well. They didn't look terribly good against Jacksonville 2 weeks ago, but last week against Houston, Herbert was back. I have no idea what his injury status is. I don't know what's being typed in the spreadsheet right now. Anyways, yeah, I mean, the Browns, they've got a bunch of injuries on defense right now. And I don't know enough about the injuries to know how many starters are going to be down this Sunday, looking at it Tuesday night. And the Chargers, they've got a lot of firepower on offense, even with if Keenan Allen doesn't play. So I'm taking the Chargers.
I'm also taking the Chargers. Reason being that the Browns are terrible. No. Yeah, I think it's difficult. Chargers traveling across the country to play the Browns, but I just think that they're so much better of a team, even with their banged up nature, than the Browns. That they should be able to figure it out and win by more than 3. The next game is interesting. 49ers at Panthers. 49ers are 6.5-point favorites. The Panthers are historically bad as well. They definitely seem like one of the doldrums of the division. So give me the 49ers to somehow be competent and win by more than 6.5, which feels icky because I don't know, man. They might not, but we'll see. I'm going to go with the 49ers.
This is the second time I'm wondering if I'm watching the same NFL that Alec is. I understand why you weren't too high on San Francisco after, they couldn't beat Denver the week before. But, man, we were saying last week that the Rams look like that they would be able to beat San Francisco easily. At least it's Leo and Chris were. And the exact opposite was the case. The Rams were just not in that game at all. I love what I'm seeing out of this 49ers defense. The defense they're playing in 2022. Deebo Samuel was unlocked last week. George Kittle should have had a touchdown. Just the tiniest bit of his left cleat was out of the end zone, but he's getting healthier. Jeff Wilson looks great. They've even got Kyle Juszczyk clicking in this offense. I think the 49ers win this big. I would take that spread if it was in double digits. Give me San Francisco.
Dang.
Yeah, not much to add, but the Panthers are looking just horrendous. I think we might have picked them once over the last couple of weeks, and they were able to win the spread. Yeah. But I don't trust them in this matchup. Give me Niners. All right, next up we've got Cowboys at Rams. Looks like Rams are favorite. I don't know if I trust that. I know the Cowboys are still running Cooper Rush. He seems to be doing okay. I think I might pick the Cowboys here.
Yeah, this is a really, really tough one. The Rams have been a head scratcher this year. The Cowboys obviously are not clicking on all cylinders with Cooper Rush, but have looked pretty good. The defense looks super opportunistic. I'm going to say the defense wins it for them, so I'm also going to take Dallas.
The Rams just look lost. There was fights on the sideline late in that game Monday night between players. Players had to be restrained. I couldn't catch who it was. They just look lost against San Francisco. I don't know what the state of this team is right now, and Dallas is playing way better than we thought they would with Dak out. I'm taking Dallas. The next game is really interesting simply for the fact that we've got two of the best mobile quarterbacks in the league. No, it's not Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson round 2. It's the lesser matchup between Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray. Although Jalen Hurts, props to the Eagles, they're really making it work with him this year. Arizona, I really don't know what to make of this team. They're kind of the anti-Ravens in a sense, where they just don't show up in the first half and then just play catch up in the second half. And sometimes they've been able to come out with a win, and other times it just hasn't been enough. But Yeah, I think the Eagles are playing good enough that this 5.5 point spread is too small. So I'll take the Eagles.
Give me the Eagles as well. Cardinals defense not playing as well as the Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles are just kind of firing on all cylinders right now. Give me them easy.
I'm also going with the Eagles. This is not the week that they will go defeated to the spread. Next up, Sunday Night Football, Bengals at Ravens. The Ravens are a 3-point favorite. We recorded our prediction episode, which will be out actually, I think, after this is out. But I already know what we all picked. I said the Ravens were going to win by 3 points. But at that time, I did not realize that Nelly was going to be playing at halftime. So, because Nelly's playing at halftime, I think they're going to be real fired up, and they're not going to have a halftime collapse, and they're going to be able to ride and cover. Might be just 4 points of a win, but they're going to figure it out. So, I'll go with the Baltimore Ravens.
The Nelly factor.
The Nelly factor.
Nelly factor.
Under anticipated.
Oh man. I tell you what. I mean, if that doesn't pump up the crowd that night, like, I mean, that's the real reason that they're doing it. They're doing it for the fan base because they know that everyone's pissed off from the last 2 home games. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think it's still early in the week, so I'm gonna go with what I said in the preview episode for the Bengals. I'm gonna pick the Bengals here. I don't know if they win. I think that they could cover. I think it could be close.
So I said in our preview episode that this game, my prediction was a tie, and I don't like to go back on what I said, but I do think this game's going to be incredibly close. I do think it's going to go into overtime, but I don't think it's going to end in a tie. And the reason why is generally the reason that a game will end in a tie in the NFL is because the kickers on both sides are missing kicks late in the game and in overtime. So, with Justin Tucker, we know that can't happen to the Ravens. So I'll say the Ravens win by 3 in overtime, which if they do win by that would be a push, but I'll still take the Ravens.
Dang. I thought you were going to be breaking new ground and being like, I am picking the push. I am going statistically terrible luck and being like, it is the push. And I think if we allowed push picking, I think it's like almost worth like a +3. Even though like you can't actually bet on that, I don't think. I don't know. Maybe you can. You probably
I will say, I think, yeah. I would not be shocked if this game does. Both these teams are so evenly matched. I'd be shocked if either team runs away with this game. All right, and then to end it out, we've got the Chiefs 7-point home favorites against the Raiders. The Raiders have played the Chiefs tight in some games. Other games, the Chiefs have come out big. The Chiefs, they did lose to the Colts, and they barely beat the Chargers, beat the Cardinals and the Buccaneers handedly. So I'm still not 100% certain what to make of the Tyreek Hill-less Chiefs, but the Raiders' defense is just so bad, which speaks volumes to how bad Denver's offense is right now. I think I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Arrowhead will be rocking. The Chiefs will win.
Same. Yeah, I have no reason to pick against the Chiefs at this point.
All right, very good. Well, that wraps it up with our picks. We'll see how we do this week, guys. I'm very excited. I feel like the NFL has been a little bit of chaos this year. It's been tricky to put your finger on. Some of these teams are just... I feel like no team is hitting on all cylinders all the time. And a lot of teams that we thought would be good are not being that good. A lot of teams we thought would be bad are indeed bad. But, like, it's more so that the good teams don't look great. You know what I mean? That's kind of my issue with the teams right now.
I mean, yeah, I'd say outside the Eagles, sure.
Yeah, so it's difficult.
The Eagles are like the one team that you could say is looking dominant in all cylinders, but then you could also question their schedule, too, outside of Jacksonville. So,
yeah, it's a long season. I'm really curious to see how it plays out and how these teams start peaking and clicking. But, yeah, leave your bets in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back next week with more of our picks.